You've probably heard the term GDP a lot in the news, especially when talking about how well a country's economy is doing. But what does GDP actually mean? GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product, and it's one of the most important indicators used to measure a country's economic performance. In simple terms, GDP is the total value of all goods and services produced within a country in a given time period, usually a year or a quarter. It tells us how much economic activity is happening. Think of it like this: if your country were a business, GDP would be its total annual revenue. There are three main ways to calculate GDP, and all of them should ideally give the same result. 1. Production method, output, adds up the value of everything that's produced, like cars, food, tech, services, etc. 2. Expenditure method, spending, adds up everything people, businesses, and governments spend on goods and services. The formula looks like this. GDP equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M. C is consumption, I is investment, G is government spending, X is exports, M is imports. 3. Income method. Adds up all the income earned, like wages, profits, rents, and taxes, minus subsidies. So why is GDP important? It helps compare economies. Bigger GDP means a larger economy. It helps track growth over time. If GDP is growing, the economy is doing well. It helps governments and investors make decisions about spending, policy, and investments. But not all GDP is the same. Here are two important types to understand. Nominal GDP is measured using current prices. So if prices go up due to inflation, GDP looks higher, even if actual production hasn't changed. Real GDP adjusts for inflation, so it gives a clearer picture of whether the economy is really growing. There's also GDP per capita, which divides the GDP by the population. This helps compare the standard of living between countries. For example, two countries might have the same GDP, but if one has 10 times more people, its GDP per capita will be much lower. But remember, GDP isn't perfect. It doesn't measure happiness or well-being, environmental impact, unpaid work, like parenting or volunteering. So while a high GDP can mean economic strength, it doesn't automatically mean everyone is better off. Let's sum it up. GDP is the total value of goods and services produced in a country. It's a key indicator of economic health. It can be measured by production, spending, or income. Real GDP shows growth more accurately by adjusting for inflation. GDP is helpful, but not the full story of a country's well-being. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please click like and subscribe to the channel for more quick and clear explainers about the economy, investing, and crypto. See you in the next one.